You've seen them, right? Those super cool AI avatars popping up everywhere? Well, one of the absolute best is Google's Androidify app. You just snap a selfie, and boom, you're a custom Android bot. It honestly feels like straight up magic. But how does it actually work? Let's pull back the curtain and find out.
Yeah, that's the big question, isn't it? And here's the thing. The answer isn't just one single magical AI doing all the work. Nope. It's actually a super clever, multi-step process. Think of it like a whole assembly line of different AIs all working together. And we're about to walk through the exact blueprint. So, the best way to picture this whole thing is as an AI assembly line. Seriously, your photo goes in on one end, it makes a few really crucial stops along the way, and then out the other end pops your personalized bot. Okay, so this assembly line has four main stages. First, it has to validate the image, just to make sure it's safe and usable. Then comes what I think is the most critical step of all, describing you, but in text. After that, a model generates the bot from that text, and a final one adds a cool background vibe. But pay attention to that second step, because that's where the real secret sauce is. And get this is the most surprising part of the whole process. The AI that actually creates your final bot, it never even sees your photo. Not once. All it ever gets is a super detailed text description that was generated by a different AI. That's the whole secret right there. Turning your picture, the pixels, into very, very specific words. And we're not talking about a simple caption here, like a person smiling. No way. The AI that describes you is given what's basically a detailed shopping list. It's specifically prompted to identify the exact style of your facial hair, the material of your shirt, any accessories you have on. We're talking glasses, microphones, jewelry, you name it. It's that insane level of detail that makes it possible to create a bot that actually looks like you. Okay, so having this brilliant AI is awesome, but that's really only half the battle. You know how fast AI models are evolving, right? They change like every week. So the big challenge becomes, how do you build an app that can actually keep up with all that change without constantly breaking?
This quote from the dev team just hits the nail on the head. They knew they couldn't just lock in one specific AI model, what developers call hard coding. Instead, they made it so they could swap it out from the cloud anytime they wanted. It might sound like a small thing, but trust me, that one decision is the difference between a modern, future-proofed app and one that's basically dead on arrival.
I mean, the difference here is just night and day. If you hard code the model name, your app breaks the second that model gets an update or is deprecated. But with a remote config, you can just swap in a new, better model whenever you want. For instance, the team actually switched to a better model they called Nano Banana, and they did it instantly for every single user without anyone having to download an app update. For any app using AI today, this isn't a nice to have, it's absolutely essential.
So this flexible, agile approach really points to a bigger idea. A great app isn't just about the cool features you see on the surface, it needs a rock-solid foundation underneath. And this is especially true when every single time your app calls that powerful AI, it costs you real money. And that's where a tool like Firebase's App Check is a lifesaver. The easiest way to think about it is like a security guard standing at the door to your backend. It checks the ID of every single request to make absolutely sure it's coming from your genuine app on a legitimate device and not some malicious bot trying to sneak past the velvet rope. So why is that security guard so critical? Well, without it, anyone could just copy your app's code, spin up a bunch of bots, and have them make millions of calls to your AI. And guess who gets the bill for that? You do. It would be astronomical. AppCheck is that gatekeeper that stops that kind of abuse cold, making sure only your real, legitimate users can get through. So when you put all these pieces together, you start to see the real blueprint for building a modern AI app. The genius today isn't about building every single component from scratch. It's about intelligently combining these incredibly powerful, off-the-shelf cloud services. You use something like Gemini for the AI brain, Remote Config for that crucial flexibility, and AppCheck for security. That's the recipe for building something new and innovative. And that brings us to a final, really interesting thought. This blueprint took a simple selfie and turned it into a custom avatar. That's cool, but what other much more complex processes could be simplified with the same approach? Just imagine applying this combination of secure, flexible AI to huge fields like education or healthcare, or even personal creativity. The possibilities, well, they're pretty fascinating to think about, aren't they?